Woo! What's going on, guys? Orange Form coming at you guys today with another video. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the defensive line and in particular Trey Flowers. Okay? We always talk about how the quarterback gets all the blame because the quarterback, he touches the ball every single snap on offense, which I think is just a ridiculous argument. But we always talk about how the quarterback gets all the blames. The quarterback, there's a win-loss record for quarterbacks, which is one of the biggest pet peeves of mine in all of football. I hate the win-loss record. Like, this guy's got so many wins and so many losses. I just think it's the most ridiculous way on how to gauge a quarterback. But when we talk about football, we talk about teams, it's always the quarterback. Always. We never blame the defense. We never blame the defense, I'm going to talk a little bit about our defense, and I'm going to talk about a little guy named Trey Flowers. He ain't so little, but you know what I'm trying to get at? It's just nobody ever gets the blame on defense. It's always just the quarterback. Okay, Trey Flowers. It's time to start talking about Trey Flowers, okay? On why we're not that great of a football team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, it starts with the D-line on defense for me, okay? Now, hello, Trey Flowers, like I said, the 5-year, $90 million man. $40 million of that is guaranteed money. We're in year 3 of this guy being here, and he was unreliable last year, got hurt, missed all kinds of time, right? He missed all kinds of time. He's the type of defensive end. We overpaid for him, by the way, okay? Overpaid for him. He's a guy that plays the run well and sets the edge. And really, that's about it. He can get to the quarterback every now and then, He averages about 7 to 8, maybe 8 sacks a season. I don't think he's ever hit 8 sacks. But I'll say 6.5 to 7.5. That's probably his average, okay? Plays the run well. He does accumulate a lot of tackles. Couple pass moves, nothing special. His bull rush is incredible, though. He's incredibly strong. The thing about Trey Flowers is that he's incredibly strong. His bull rush is probably one of the best in the NFL. He's 6'2", 256 pounds. He actually gained 10 pounds last year for Corey Unland's defense. Well, Matt Patricia / Corey Unland's defense. I personally think at 6'2", 266 pounds, that's probably too big. It's too heavy. And it's just speaking from a guy who is 6'2", 260 plus pounds. Okay, that's my height and size. But I'm not a professional athlete, but it's a lot of weight on a body. Trust me. But I'm a fat guy, so that's just what it is. But I think even when I was in really good shape back in the day, and I reach up to about 245, 240. That's heavy. That's heavy for 6'2". It just is, man. It just is. I'm not saying the guy needs to be 230 or anything like that. Some guys are different, and some guys can handle weight differently on their bones and their heart and their body and their legs, with knees, whatever. Some guys can do that. But I think 266 is too big. Now, I don't know if he was asked to do that or if he did that on his own. Some of these guys are asked to put on a little bit more weight, because I know Patricia loves his defensive ends that set the edge and then hold up an offensive tackle, and let their linebackers make a play or defensive end itself making a play. But I think 266 is too big. Maybe he loses a couple pounds, but I talk about him too. I just say he needs to step up, and I know he needs a lot of help. It's the same as the quarterback position. Everyone blames the quarterback, but you have to look at the whole thing. You have to look at the whole picture, right? You have to look at the whole picture. And with Trey Flowers' situation, he didn't really have a lot of help, man. He had another good defensive end on the other side, Romeo, who busted out this year. Jamie Collins behind him, playing linebacker, didn't have a great year. I don't think. Made a couple splash plays, but nothing big. But all on that D-line, what are we really talking about? You know what I mean? Nick Williams was the bust that we picked up from Chicago. Danny Shelton that we picked up from the Patriots, former first-round pick of the Cleveland Browns, was average to below average. Jonathan Pennicini, the rookie that we drafted out of Utah in the 6th round, was pretty solid. Good rotational defensive tackle. Ended up ended up starting, made some nice plays, I thought. His hustle's incredible for a defensive tackle. I do like him, and he's a guy that I would like to see them build around too. But guys like Deshaun Hand, unreliable, time to go, time to save some money. But really, guys like, those type of guys. Julian Okwara, I really like to come out this year. We never seen him in 2020. We never seen him because he got hurt a lot. I think he was still hurt from the second he was drafted. He did break a leg at Notre Dame. So he's a guy, and that's Romeo's little brother, Julian Okwara. He's a guy that can step up. He's about 256, 260. He's about the same size as Trey Flowers, but I think an inch or two taller. So he might be able to put on a couple more pounds. But he was pretty good at Notre Dame. Didn't accumulate a ton of stats because he did get hurt, but he's got that. You could tell he had that it factor. He had something. You know what I mean? So he's a guy that I expect to really come into his own in 2021. And then Austin Bryant, who I really liked coming down the stretch for the Detroit Lions. Austin Bryant was a stud at Clemson. You go look at his numbers. You try to go look you look for some highlight videos or some tape on him. He's very impressive. He's long. He's big. He's fast. He's explosive. He's a playmaker, and you kind of seen it last year at the end of the year. Last 4 games, he played really well, accumulated some tackles, didn't get to the quarterback, but he created some pressure, knocked down some passes, blocked some punts on special teams. He's got that playmaking ability in him. He almost had an interception that he took to the house too. But if he would have picked it, he probably would have been gone. It was right in his hands. He just got up, knocked it down. He's got that ability. You could see the ability in him. But there's a couple guys that I like in free agency, but I don't think we're gonna get like Leonard Williams, the guy from the New York Giants. He's gonna probably cost too much money. Yannick Ngakoue is a guy that doesn't play the run very well, but can get to the quarterback like a monster. Can get you 10 plus sacks easy like that every single season. He's got that ability. He's a sack artist. But he's going to cost a pretty penny. You got Suh right here. Well, I don't think he's ever coming back. People talk about it. Hey man, Suh. We got to bring Suh back. We got to realize that man's not coming back. That man's never coming back to the city to play football again. He's just not. He never wanted to be here the second he was drafted. He never did, guys. He never did. He played phenomenal for us. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't know about first ballot, but he will definitely be a Hall of Fame player going into. He will definitely be going into Canton one year. And then now he's got a Super Bowl on his resume, so that just cements it for me. but he's been a force pretty much his whole career. If you go look at his numbers, he's been a pretty good force. Even when he went to Miami, accumulated a ton of tackles, got to the quarterback as well. You know what I mean? He's done some things in LA. He's done some things in Tampa. He's not the force he once was, but he is. He still is dominant. He still is a guy that he played phenomenal too on Super Bowl Sunday. He knocked around Patrick Mahomes all over the place. He got to Mahomes a few times. Played really well. He dominated the line of scrimmage. Now, but those are the type of guys that I don't really, not too keen on anybody in free agency. Not really too keen on anybody too free agency. And the guys I like, I think they're going to be too much money. Now, like I said, we got to make a bunch of moves. There's moves they can make. They can even get rid of a guy like Trey Flowers. You can't release him because the dead cap alone is ridiculous. But it's all pre-June 1st. Okay? If you do a pre-June 1st release of him, which is never going to happen, it's a dead cap of $31 million. Okay? That's a fact. Okay? There's no dancing around that. There's no dancing around that. So that would add $11 million to our cap, in which we're already $10 million over. So we're not doing that. Or you could post June 1st release him. Okay? You could do that. But it's $19 million dead cap. And then a 2022, $11 million dead cap. So you're saving no money doing that. So that's not going to happen. The release is just out the window. Throw that right out the window, the release, okay? We're not releasing him. I don't think we should anyways. I'm just trying to have a conversation here. Then you could pre-June 1st trade him, which You might gain a little bit of capital back, money-wise, financially. You will. It's a $16 million dead cap. That would save you maybe about $3 million plus in 2021. So that's a maybe. I don't see it, but it's a maybe. I don't really see that. Now, pre-June, so after, post-June, after June 1st, it's a $5 million dead cap and then an $11 million dead cap in 2022. But it would save you $14 million plus in 2021. So that could be an option, but I personally think he's going to be a Detroit Lion. His out is 2022. All that money goes up for savings. It all goes up in 2022. Okay, 2021. He's going to be a Lion because we're on a possibility of losing our best defensive lineman in Romeo Okwara. People have to remember that. And Trey Flowers is literally our second best defensive lineman. You know what I mean? So they're not going to get rid of two guys. And I've heard nothing about Romeo re-signing here. It's been quiet. It's been really quiet. It's been quiet about Romeo. Kenny Golladay, we kind of heard a little bit, but it's kind of those talks have fallen off. We don't know nothing about anybody re-signing back here. We're going to see a totally different football team come September. Just to let you guys know that. We'll come earlier actually because camp will be starting and then the draft's in a couple months. It's just going to be a totally different team. Now, there's a couple guys that I like in the draft. Okay, these couple guys I like in the draft, and I'm not going to get into total detail because I'm not going to make it totally about the draft. But it's a couple guys that I like. I will do a draft thing later on, but that's down the road. It's probably maybe in another month I'll start hitting that real hard. I am looking now though. Here's a guy that I like along the D line that I really like for the Lions to possibly pick up. Now, I'm going to throw this guy in there. Linebacker Micah Parsons. No, he's not a defensive lineman, but he was recruited to be a defensive end. He was recruited to be a defensive end coming out of high school. Guy that played defensive end and running back in high school. Super athletic. He's going to be a 3-down linebacker in the NFL. He's a bit raw in coverage, but his athleticism trumps all that. He can get to the quarterback. He plays the run well. He does a lot of good things. And no, he is not Jared Davis. People like to compare him to Jared Davis. I don't know why. Maybe because he's not good in coverage, but he's not disastrous in coverage like Jared Davis is. Okay, and Jared Davis, he's a complete enigma. He's a complete enigma. Nobody knows how to use him. Now, Dan Campbell apparently supposedly likes him. Are you going to re-sign him? I don't know. And how are you going to use him? Because you can't use him as a middle linebacker. You can't use him as an outside linebacker, I wouldn't think either. His best attribute is rushing the quarterback. That's his best attribute. So are you going to make him a defensive end? I don't think you can. So I don't know what they're going to do with a guy like Jared Davis, but Micah Parsons is not Jared Davis. Everybody get that out of your heads. Micah Parsons is the real deal. Okay, he's got some stuff going on in his personal life that he needs to handle. Maybe some apologies he needs to throw out there. But when it comes to playing football, he's an absolute animal. Okay. Now, next guy, defensive end Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. 6'7", about 270 pounds plus, huge, big and long, lanky. You know what I mean? Heavy, complete sack artist, plays the run well, and he's young. He's going to be. He opted out last year, just like Parsons did. They opted out for COVID and didn't play the 2020 season. But Gregory Rousseau is a stud coming off that end. Now, even if Romeo Okwara was to re-sign here, I would love a signing of or a draft pick of Gregory Rousseau. Now, those are two guys that you got to probably grab at 7. You could maybe fall back a bit in the draft and try to pick up a guy like that. Or a guy like Rousseau, a guy like Parsons. You can't fall too much back. You can't fall too far back. Now, I've seen Parsons and Rousseau kind of flip-flop between 5 and 15. I really have. I've seen them flip-flop. Both players. Okay. Now I don't know what's going on. Now we got to have these pro days. The combine's all jacked up. I don't think we're having an official combine, but I think they're going to just do it all through pro days. But these guys could jump up or they could go down. Micah Parsons could fall a little bit because of this personal stuff that he's been involved with. But I'm not really 100% sure on that as well. But if you want to talk two game-changing football players, it's Parson and Russo. Now here's another guy that I like, Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle out of Alabama, 6'5", 310 pounds. He personally reminds me of Ndamukong Suh coming out. He just got that burst, that nastiness. He's dominant at the line of scrimmage. And he's fast for a big boy. He's fast. He dominated in the national championship game. Dominated. He bopped around Justin Fields all day. So I really like him a lot. High motor, gets to the quarterback. He's a disruptor. I really like Barmore. That's a guy that you can maybe fall back to and pick up to as well. I think he'll be there at 7, but I don't know if you want to grab a guy like that at 7. If he's like anything like Suh, why not? You know what I mean? I do like him. I wouldn't be mad at a pick like Barmore at 7. I really wouldn't. But that's more of a pushback and see if you can fall back and acquire some more picks, but don't fall too far back. Another guy I like is Carlos Basham out of Wake Forest, defensive end / defensive tackle. He could slip, stuffs the run well, and gets to the quarterback. He's really good. Played at Wake Forest so, but he's a stud. And then there's a guy, Davion Nixon, defensive tackle out of Iowa, solid as a pass rusher, as a defensive tackle, and stuffs the run as well. I do like him. I like him. It's a guy that you can probably get in the second round for sure. And last but not least is Joe Tryon, defensive end out of Washington, 6'5", 260 plus. Kind of came out of nowhere, played really well. He's got the athletic ability, has the size. I really like his upside. So that's a few guys right there, guys. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to put this all on Trey Flowers, but he needs to step up. But he needs some help. He needs a guy next to him, or he needs a linebacker right behind him, so he's just not the guy that they're keying on. Okay, get him some help. You get a solid defensive tackle in there, you know what I mean? Then you got Trey Flowers more on one-on-ones than you're not, right? You want one-on-ones with Trey Flowers. Because he's not a dominant defensive end. He's not going to beat you every single time. But if he's double teamed, very rare he's going to get in there and get to the quarterback. He just needs help, man. But he also needs to step up. You're making a ton of money too. So it's time to start blaming. It's time to start pointing fingers at the defense as well. That's it, guys. That's the video, man. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that button on the corner right. Hit that notification bell. Get all my videos and like and comment. It's all about liking and comment. It helps my channel big time. Thanks a lot, guy. Go Lions. Boom.